DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. Founded by the first family of Florida State Coffee and based in Pensacola, Florida, DeLuna Coffee is the driving passion of the Lemmix family. Ed, his wife Courtney, and their son Brett. Their tailgating spot out front of the Unconquered statue is their own slice of paradise. But the real delight is DeLuna's blend of Kona, Maui, Kenya, Colombian, and Brazilian beans that they call their liquid gold brew. In fact, they called it Paradise. Try it or one of their 24 blends and get a discount when you use the promo code WARCHANT15. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.
From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee.
Coffee's for closers only.
Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hutchavandi
and Corey Clark.
And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? It is Wake Up Warchant. It is fueled by DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. While you're doing said exploration of coffee, use the promo code WARCHANT15. Gets you a 15% discount. Also lets Ed, Brett, and Courtney know you listen to the show. They'll probably write you like a handwritten note saying thanks for being a great stand-up Nole. If you are a stand-up Nole, you probably are subscribed to WarChant.com. We certainly appreciate that. If you're listening to us on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Get to see all kinds of cool content. Jeff Cameron's show, Seminole Headlines, Trench Talk. We'll do that 6 p.m. tonight with myself and Devontae Love Taylor, as well as a Warchant Wrap, where Corey Clark bathed himself in glory after Florida State's victory on Saturday night. Corey Clark here with us now. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. That was a fun shower I took late Saturday night, getting all that sticky champagne off me, but it tasted so sweet, Aslan. So sweet.
Winners win. Corey Clark's a winner, and when winners win, they celebrate. Go check out that video afterwards with Ira and Corey. I mean, Corey literally sprayed himself in champagne. It was amazing. He ruined the good surprise of the pop of the champagne, and he saw that I was upset. I told him I was upset. I'm like, I can't believe you just ruined the whole, coup de grace shot of this. And then he just goes ahead and totally redeems himself. Team player.
I wish we'd have had more of like a production meeting beforehand where I knew that was I thought the whole thing was going to be us pouring it on each other. Not just the pop of it. Like I thought it was, you could do that in sound effects when you got back to your house. I thought the whole idea was to spray ourselves, or at least myself. I didn't want to get Ira all champagne-y with it. And then you got so upset when the pop happened, although it wasn't a cork. So I was like, all right, well, this won't be that big a deal. I'm just going to squeeze it off. I didn't realize a pop happened if you didn't have a cork in it. Yeah. That was surprising to me. Yeah. And then, so you got really upset. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn that frown upside down 5 seconds into this thing. And then you said, oh, God, and turned the camera off.
I didn't know what to do. I just didn't. We should, like you said, we should have had a production meeting. We would have been
all.
I
liked it. I liked more that it was like it was like legitimately like. It wasn't planned.
It was organic, yes.
Yeah, it was a spur of the moment, and that was real. That was Aslan's real reaction when I dumped myself with champagne, is to just turn the camera off.
And a shout out to the 99.7% of you that were in on the joke, the 0.3% of you that think that we were really celebrating full throat a 33-30 victory over Syracuse. I don't know. Let's.
There's no hope.
Yeah, just come on, everybody.
There's no hope. Stephanie told me that. She's like, yeah, you got some nasty messages about that. And I'm like, well, their IQs are in the 80s. There's no point to even. That'd be like getting upset because a 7-year-old was upset with you. Like, imagine like thinking that we're really, really excited about this product.
Right.
And it was clearly a joke. It was clearly being ironic. And it's actually fun to talk about wins, too.
It is.
But clearly we were being ironic. A team is 1-4, and you think we're like legitimately like we're going to get drunk and just party all night with champagne because they beat Syracuse in the final on the last play of the game. Come on, man. Yeah. You can't. None of those people listen to this show. They can't. Because the people who listen to this show are smart.
That's right. That is right.
So there's no one that like actually thought we were celebrating seriously that would listen, that's even hearing this right now. So who are we even talking to?
Yeah. So 33-30, Florida State wins. Walk-off field goal from Ryan Fitzgerald, 34-yard field goal. So the indignity of going 0-12, which I don't think neither of us thought was a realistic possibility. It was, you start looking at things, and as the schedule gets a little bit harder as October then blends into November, you'd be a little bit concerned at that point. But you had this little bit of window here to get some good positive vibes going. So congrats to them. I guess to Ira's point in the wrap-up, I don't want to make excuses for them winning. I also don't want to go over the moon about the win, which I don't think you or Ira did on the video. So I guess obviously let's try to keep everything we can in perspective here. I don't want to ruin anyone's good vibe either, Course. I'm going to stop talking and kind of turn it over to you. What are some of the things that we maybe learned about this team, and what are some of the things that are just that much further reinforced about this team, do you think, after the game? And actually, before I let you get to that, I will just say I did I think 3 times I counted in his press conference, Mike Norvell mentioned having to get better, kind of expressing not being satisfied with how they perform. Satisfied with the result, it beats the alternative. Glad we won, absolutely. But he expressed at least 3 times, we got to get better, we got to clean this stuff up, and we know that. And then Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson, your elder statesmen, if you will, of the team right now, both very, very, sort of level-headed after the game, talking about they know they can be better, they have to play better. So that's the kind of stuff that makes me I'll enjoy the win. If they would have all came out and been like, yeah, man, we just showed all you guys. Joke's on you. We really are awesome after all. I'd be like, all right, come on. But again, I guess the other question then, what have we learned? Maybe what other things have been kind of reinforced now? This is 5 games, so they kind of are who they are at this point.
Yeah, I think that was just more than anything reinforced on Saturday that, they won the plays at the end of the games that they hadn't been winning, but they weren't really a better football team, right? They just I don't want
better than Syracuse, but they're not
sure,
better.
But I'm saying they weren't better. They weren't substantially better than they were the week before or the week before that. They got some luck on the fumble to pick up a fumble. That's something that never happens. Right. But what I thought was encouraging, or maybe not even encouraging, just something that maybe can be built on, is that this team hadn't won any close games since Norvell's been here. They haven't been in a ton. But the ones they were in this year, they did not play those situations well. They did not. The defense didn't get a stop really when it had to get one, and the offense couldn't make plays when it absolutely had to go make plays. And then they did that on Saturday. Now, can they build on that? I don't know. They're going to be playing better teams than Syracuse from here on out. But you hope that's something that Fitzgerald takes with him. That should give him some real confidence. The only time he's made a clutch kick in his life, it sounds like, from talking to him after the game, was the Notre Dame kick to send it to overtime, and then he got to feel, like he even said, he got to feel good for himself for about 15 minutes, and then he went and missed a kick. I don't know that it lost the game, but it certainly didn't help things. So maybe he feels better. That gives him a bolt of confidence. And then Jordan Travis, hopefully that gives him some confidence. I don't know how much he lacks for confidence anyway, but that should give him confidence that when it mattered, he had a couple really nice runs. Darius Washington, huge block on that last one. Huge. Not a hold, man. If they don't call it, it's not a hold. Right. And so they played some situations well that they hadn't in the past. And I think Norvell talked about finishing, and I thought they did. The defensive stand, the defense is the defense. I think one thing we were wondering.
What happened to Randy Shannon? Anyway. What happened to Randy Shannon, Corey? He called the first quarter and then he just disappeared?
And then he bounced. Yeah, he's like, all right, y'all see what I can do. Make me an offer. I think that, we realized, okay, this defense is just what it is. They played 3 all incredible quarters for them, really. You know what I mean? The last 2 quarters against Louisville, who put up 34 on Wake, and then the first quarter against Syracuse, you're like, man, is this happening? And then it's like, no. Syracuse had 7 straight plays. I tweeted about it. On 7 consecutive plays, they had first down, touchdown, first down, touchdown. That's more like what we're used to. Now, Florida State did come back and get, but the thing is, they did make a couple of big stops in the fourth quarter. I know Syracuse took over after the interception. They took over at Florida State's 42-yard line down by 3. I think we all thought they were going to be up by 4 in about a minute. Well, they weren't. They got inside the 10, but Florida State made some plays when they had to and forced a field goal. And then Florida State gives the ball back to them. And there's nobody in that stadium, I don't believe, maybe some Syracuse fans, I don't know, that were still worried. I think all of us thought Syracuse is definitely going to score on this drive. It's just a matter of how much time they leave this offense to not go score on the other end. You know what I mean? Right. I think we all thought that. What's all we've seen in that defense after giving up a first down to around midfield, got to stop. And again, it's one win. It's not going to turn the season around. It's not going to make this a bowl team. But, it's to to get good at winning big-time situations, you have to get some experience doing it. And at least they got a little bit of that on Saturday. So I thought that was maybe encouraging, or maybe we'll see. It's something that could be built on. And I wanted to say, when you were talking about Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas, the only two people really, we talked to, I think, 5 players after the game. The only two people that seemed like really excited about the win were Jordan Travis and Ryan Fitzgerald, which they should. But Jermaine Johnson and Keir Thomas weren't all smiles. It wasn't like they were like, yeah, we did it. We proved we shocked the world. They had just given up 30 points. And Norvell, although he was happy that they won, was not ecstatic either because they didn't play well the whole game. And so I think it was more of a realization, okay, this team is what it is. They're going to be in a lot of close – with this schedule left, they should be in the game in the third and fourth quarter of at least 4 or 5 of these games to finish it out, 6 games maybe. Now they at least have some experience playing those situations well, and maybe they can steal a couple wins. But nobody after that game, I don't think fans walking out, fans watching it on TV, you and I, other than the champagne dump, Norvell, Fuller, none of us were like, oh my, they've turned it around. They've turned it around. It was cool that they got a win, though, that they played the final 5 minutes well enough to go get a win, because they had not been doing that clearly the last 4 or 5 years.
We're in a very weird spot right now as a fan base, or at least us having to cover this program to really dedicated fans. Like, I took the screenshot of the Tribal Council warchant.com right after the game was over, and these are like the top 9 thread titles, like, that were in chronological order. So the first one was, "We Still Suck." The second was, "What a Joke." Third one was, "Nothing to be encouraged about." But then there was, "For the love of all that's good, please just let us enjoy this win." Then there was one that said, "Thank you, baby Jesus." Then there was one that said, "This game is proof." And I'm like, what? And someone tweeted, or their post was, "This game is proof that Mike Norvell is a better coach than Willie Taggart." And then my guy, NYC Nole 2, which we haven't heard from him in a while, has Paul Gleason as the avatar, was just like, man, you're using this, of all moments, to make an argument that he's better than Willie. He's like, my guy, we just won 1 game. We don't know when the next one's coming. Go have a beer.
Yeah.
So, it's a weird sort of spot to be in. But, I mean, I put it in the wrap-up with you guys on the lower third graphic. It's just like, man, it beats the alternative. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Obviously, being 0-5 would be just even that much more terrible than being 0-4. But to Jordan Travis, I guess, you mentioned in the wrap-up, I mean, so Mike Norvell is now 4-13, if I'm correct.
4-10.
4-10. I'm sorry. Yeah, we didn't play 12 games last year. Sorry, Mike. 4-10, and is probably 1-13. You said, I think, in the wrap up, if it's not for Jordan Travis.
Maybe 0-14.
Yeah, and you talked about him not lacking confidence, but I think he said, Ira asked him how after the game how he felt, and he said, like, physically I feel as good as I ever have, which is come on.
He didn't say that, which I'm not like, this isn't semantics, I don't think.
Okay.
I think he said, I felt as healthy as I can possibly feel.
Okay.
Which, if you read between the lines there, you're like, okay, he can't ever get right again, 100%. Not this year anyway. Whatever's going on with his knee or his shoulder, he felt as healthy as he possibly could, but not as good as he ever. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like
I got you.
I think there is a distinction there.
For sure. But then he kind of went on, like, I think he even said, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, maybe I should pull up the transcript if they actually did have transcripts still. He said something like, for me, it's mentally. I thought he said something along the lines of that.
Yeah.
Kier and Jermaine talked about the confidence they have in him and the way that he's able to quiet out the noise, which, I mean, what are we supposed to say about him? Like, I feel uncomfortable talking about Jordan Travis. I feel like anything that I would say, it almost makes me sound like he stole my girlfriend away from me, because I don't have a lot of compliments for him. But the guy wins football games. He moves the ball in really weird, unconventional, maddening ways if you're like the opposition. Like, when I see him, I think of like Tyrod Taylor and Tim Tebow giving us hell. And I'm like, I hated those guys. Like, those guys that just ran around and did nonsense, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, like, what the hell do you have to do to stop a guy like that? Like, I see that in Jordan Travis, and like, rather than embrace that as like, oh, we finally have one of these guys that pisses everybody else off, I'm just like, this reminds me of the anguish I felt for the better part of like 7 years. So I guess with him now, you move forward with him. I mean, it's maddening because we saw him one day at practice, we didn't see him the next, and all of a sudden he's your starter, and then it's all in with him. And I don't know if they really even do call things differently with him, but just is there a little bit more of a lift now after seeing him perform that way, or do we still again have to kind of keep everything in context and perspective and be like, well, listen, Syracuse shut down Malik Willis, who's going to maybe be like a first-round draft pick quarterback. Now, Jordan didn't exactly flourish, but again, when it came to nut cutting time, he found a way to with some help from a really weird defensive player holding up who maybe they coach too good at Syracuse. If we're not coaching well enough and not telling guys like Brendan Gant to hold up and check up on guys, maybe Syracuse does too good of a job.
Brendan Gant was like, see, that's why I did what I did. That guy pulled up, and then he ran 20 yards. That's why I pushed him out of bounds, coach. You see? With Jordan, I'd also compare him a little bit to the Syracuse kid. Like that kid, you talk about unconventional. I mean, he looks awful.
Yes.
He even looked awful running the ball to start the game. It's like, what is this guy doing? He's lumbered into the line like he's a 7 foot.
Yeah,
two. Yeah, it was crazy.
Sneaking home from
and then all of a sudden he breaks containment, and you're like, good grief, he's running like Calvin Johnson. Like, where did this come? He's running away from DBs. So I just think with Jordan Travis, man, he's never going to be the conventional guy that's consistently moving you down the field. But you look up, nobody has scored more points against. I know Notre Dame lost this week. That's still a good defense. Correct. Nobody puts up the points that Florida State put up on that defense. And Jordan Travis in this game, Rutgers beat Syracuse 17-7. Like, Syracuse has pretty good defense. They're not horrible.
They do.
And he put up 33. He does it in weird ways. It's a lot of 3-and-out, home run, 3-and-out, home run, or 3-and-out, double, single touchdown. But he figures out a way, somehow, some way, that or maybe it's just coincidence, but they score more. They put up more points with Jordan Travis as the quarterback, even though there are some throws where you're like, good night, man. What was that? He missed Parchment on a deep one that all he has to do is hang it out there. Like, he doesn't have to make a great throw. Just hang it up. And but he didn't. There's some of those throws out wide. He's not really hitting them quickly or in their body, giving them a chance to make plays. But, he still he produces. The problem, and which has always been the problem, is can you count on it? Not can you count on him to make plays when he's on the field, because I think he's proven that now, that when he's on the field, he can go make plays and he'll get you some points. But can he stay on the field? That's you just don't know. But it was encouraging. He hasn't looked like that guy all year. He had a run in the first half. I think it was the first half, where he put his foot in the ground.
Yes.
And made a dude look silly. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, there's that Jordan Travis. Okay, I see you. Okay, I've been missing you, man. Where you been? Like that was the first time I'm like, okay, well, that looks different than anything we've seen all year. And then obviously the two plays he made at the end of the game. And then also he had a couple of plays. I think it was actually on the drive that they ended up punting when it was 30-30. He almost did an EJ spin into a 15-yard sack. Like, literally was running backwards and then ended up getting 7 yards out of it.
Yep.
That was the Jordan Travis that just hasn't been there with his legs, in my opinion. But he was there. I mean, he ran for a career high, made 2 big runs when he absolutely had to have them. So, look, if he can stay on the field and be healthy, enormous if, probably an if that isn't going to happen. That Jordan Travis we saw Saturday is hiccupy as it can be. He gives you the best chance to put up points and win games of anybody on your roster. But you don't know how much you can count on it moving forward. You just don't. But it was cool to see. It was a good moment for him. Great moment for Fitzgerald after missing the extra point and having some ups and downs clearly this year. For him to hit that game winner should be big for his confidence. It was cool for him in general. And it was cool that Jordan Travis got himself a game-winning drive in the final seconds of a game.
Yeah. Playing pop psychologist, as you are so kind to do for us every now and then here on the show, Corey. This is obviously conjecture and don't want to get too far into the weeds on it, but with Kier and Jermaine talking about the outside noise with Jordan, and then Jordan talking about just mentally for him it's just being, if he can get dialed in mentally, I guess is when he's going to be at his best. Like, what is it, man? Is he reading? I don't know, man. Like, we're not unfavorable to him, I don't think, at least writing wise. I don't know if he listens to the podcast. Maybe he does when he's working out. I know Mackenzie does. Shout out, Mackenzie. I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
What a great soundtrack this would be to work it out.
I know, right? But so at what point does he need to prove? Is it him proving it to himself? Does he have to prove? Does he want to prove something to the fan base? Does he want to prove something? He doesn't care about the media, I wouldn't think. I just wonder where this whole kind of where does, because you say he doesn't lack for confidence, but then you kind of hear him be a little bit vulnerable. That was the most candid he's been with us. He turned off the Russell Wilson switch, which is just everything's good. It's all about execution. I'm happy. I love these guys. He did talk about how much he loves his brothers and called Ryan Fitzgerald his dog. But where is it coming from though? Because this staff has, at least outwardly, has expressed enormous confidence in him. They couldn't stop gushing about him in the spring. And then I don't know, is it just one of those things where no matter how well they're playing off each other and they are supporting one another, that there is some sort of just tension with not knowing how the quarterback position is going to play out on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I don't know. And I said I don't know if he lacks confidence. He might. I don't know. He's never struck me as a kid that struggles with confidence, but he also, heard an enormous cheer when McKenzie Milton was put in the game. And an enormous cheer when McKenzie Milton got the start against Jacksonville State. And he heard a smattering of boos when he made a bad throw in the Jacksonville State game. So maybe that can certainly affect your confidence, I would imagine. I just think, if I was him, and I'm not, and this is not any inside knowledge, I would think he'd be like, man, you guys would be 0-14 without me. And you're booing me, and you're cheering this kid that's only been here for 2 months, 5 months, and okay, good luck. I don't think he's like that. That's me because I'm vindictive and petty. Mm-hmm. But, especially after this game on Saturday, I'd be like, okay, well, let's add it up here. I scored 4 touchdowns against Notre Dame, and I scored 4 touchdowns against Syracuse, and I scored 2 touchdowns against Wake. How'd the other guy do? What he put up 2 against Jacksonville State? Awesome. Put up a couple against Louisville? Awesome. I think that, okay, you guys don't like me, I get it. But how are we doing with the other guy? That's the pettiness that Corey Clark would have. But again, I think the reality is he wasn't healthy for the Louisville game. Jacksonville State game was a mistake. They should be 2-3 right now. This is a 2-3 football team that's 1-4. But they should be 2-3. If they play Jordan Travis in that game, it doesn't come down to Jarvis Brownlee. It just doesn't. Or Adam Fuller, I guess, would be more appropriate. But yeah, I don't know where he is mentally. And look, I don't think he's not Johnny Manziel. He's not a Heisman winner, but he's your best chance right now. And is that maybe a little depressing if you're a hardcore Florida State fan that Jordan Travis is your best chance to go win games because he's not an NFL quarterback probably. He's not a Heisman candidate. He's not an All-ACC Player of the Year candidate. Maybe, but he is. He is. So the hope is that he can stay healthy. I think if Jordan Travis is healthy, you got a shot against Miami, a good shot. I'm not saying you're going to win that game, but you should be in that game. Heck, man, look around. Jeez. Florida put up a whopping 13 points against Kentucky. I don't think you're going to beat Florida. I'm not predicting that, but they're not world beaters either.
And Clemson
Nobody left. Clemson
right?
put up. Clemson barely beat BC. If they don't have a bad snap, Clemson might have lost to Boston College. So I think the rest of the schedule they're not good, so they're going to lose most of the games. But it's not impossible. These games aren't impossible. These aren't crazy daunting. But with Jordan Travis, you got a better shot, in my opinion, than anybody else on the team. But again, I keep coming back to the health, and I don't know how healthy he's going to be. He does not have the ability that seems to stay healthy. If he is, he's your guy, and I think that's clear now. Not that he's great, but he's your best option.
Winning season is rolling on over at MyBookie this week. Entries are now open for the winner-take-all Super Contest. MyBookie, the only sportsbook that offers online Super Contests, so don't miss out on this exclusive promotion. Enter now, turn $10 into $10,000. Weeks 5 through 8 in the NFL season, you make 5 picks against the spread. Get them right, get points, rise up the standings, and you can take home the $10,000 grand prize. You got to use the promo code WARCHANT, and when you get there and make your first deposit at MyBookie, you'll receive double your deposit. Promo code WARCHANT, double your funds, double your fun, double your winnings. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. I think I went 2 for 3 last week, or I know I got wrong the over, which every over-under I've gotten wrong this year. But I think I had Georgia getting past Arkansas, covering that spread, and I forgot what the other one was, but I think it was like a Big Ten game that I nailed. So maybe don't shade me any longer, anybody. But
yeah, you're on a streak, man.
Yeah,
you're
4
hot.
out of 6. Watch out for this guy. MyBookie.ag. Use that promo code WARCHANT. All right, Corey. So part of me was thinking as you guys are doing the wrap up, and I'm out there filming it. You and I are Schofel, managing editor of WarChant.com. 2/3 of Seminole headlines. And you're kind of talking about. I was like, hey man, like, what do we make of this win? And you don't want to put too much into it. Don't know how to kind of put everything in perspective. Like, hey man, listen, they're better than Syracuse, which I'm like, yeah, man. There's 130 FBS teams, and we are refreshed to know that we are not the worst. Not that anybody thought we were the worst, but I think we just learned that we're better than Syracuse, and we're probably below some of these other teams. And then, we always get into this whole kind of analyzing coaching decisions, and I still yet. There's been stuff that's kind of, I don't know, a little bit frustrating because obviously it isn't working. That's what makes it frustrating. But there's not a lot of stuff that some of the fourth down stuff I'll probably never be able to get over. It's just part of my DNA. But like watching Dino Babers, like the way he ended the first half clock management wise, when he had like 2 timeouts in 40 seconds and then somehow ends up blowing through 2 of them and then not even being able to get a scoring play, in a legitimate shot at it. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I think is like really bad coaching and really discouraging. And the staff didn't do that kind of stuff. So I don't, again, but it's like Syracuse. Are we going to compare ourselves against Syracuse? I don't know. I don't think we should, but they still are doing some things that are fresh. The defense is just, to your point, you said in the wrap, man, there's going to be a couple blown assignments. It just seems like bad blown assignments. I mean, guys do miss assignments on defense, but then guys drop passes or somebody's able to kind of come over and save the day and mitigate things. But just with Florida State, that doesn't seem to happen. But some of this offensive stuff they've been doing, and I know we're going to keep, everyone wants to batter the defense. And the thing is that the defense is going to get addressed. And I think that means that I can't imagine Adam Fuller comes back unless they just run the table from here on out. But offensively, I don't think a lot would change. Maybe a position coach. But I wouldn't think Dillingham's going to get demoted or leave. But then again, look what happened to Walt Bell after 2018. But offensively, man, they can gash people up. Like their power inside runs were amazing against Syracuse. But these throwing to the boundary plays, which don't get me that upset, but like everybody on social media, everybody in the YouTube comments, everybody on WarChant was like lamenting and gnashing their teeth about that maybe almost as much as the defense. Like offensively, for you, is it just seeing players not executing things well, or does it still seem like they're not being put in position to succeed more often than not?
Yeah, I think when it comes to the offense, there's some limitations because of what you have out wide, and then obviously it's tough. It's tough when you're, obviously Robert Scott isn't himself. He's banged up. He's not healthy. Maurice Smith gutted it out. He is not healthy. Who knows who else isn't healthy? Like it's just a banged up offensive line. It'd be cool if they weren't. Other offensive lines still seem to be relatively healthy, but this one isn't going to be that. I didn't have a problem with the stuff out wide because I think it does. I think there is a method to the madness. I think there is a reason they're doing that. And it's maybe to set up the inside runs, to get them going left, going right, and then hit them in the middle. And then, the Keyshawn Helton touchdown was a direct result of all the wide receiver running back screens they had thrown. It's a direct result of it. So they are doing it for a reason. And I also think if you just watch Jordan Travis throw, and we know his shoulder isn't great, I don't know that they expect him to be able to make the intermediate throws. The 25-yard, I don't think even this deep, he threw 2 deep shots. Both of them were awkward looking. One he threw too hard. The other one was like just a pop-up that McLean couldn't get to. But he all his throws seemed to be kind of sidearm, which some of them worked out well. Like he made a couple really nice, I thought, throws to Ward.
Cam McDonald, too.
Yeah, the McDonald touchdown was a sidearm throw where he had to throw it around a guy, which is the stuff he kind of wasn't good at last year. But he manipulated his arm and got it around the guy, but it seemed like he was throwing a lot more sidearm, which might have something to do with the shoulder, which means, okay, our passing attack is going to be this. And we're going to set up other stuff, everything else off of this. It's very frustrating, I get it, to watch a guy complete 16 of 20 passes for 19 yards or whatever it was. I know it was more than that, but not much more. But it's
22
what they feel
of
like
32. 22 of 32, which is 69%, which has got to be a career high for him.
And he had a couple drops. Don't forget Aslan.
For 131.
Yeah. But look, so I think they know they don't have Mahomes back there. But he did make the throw. It was Toafili, right? He got a big third down catch.
Yes.
And then he made a really nice throw. His best throw of the day was rolling right to Helton. He hit Helton for a first down on a 3rd and 9 or 10 on the sideline at like the 3-yard line, 2-yard line, rolling to his right. Really good throw. Maybe the best throw he's made all year. So maybe his arm's fine. I don't know. It just seemed like he was throwing a little sidearm more than normal.
That was some scramble drill stuff, though, wasn't it? The one that he hit to Helton on the 3rd down conversion?
Yeah, but it was still it was a perfect throw. It wasn't. I'm not saying he read it right or got it out on time, but rolling to his right, making that throw in that spot was a big-time throw. Look, I just think the offense is what it is. This is their ceiling is only so high. You know, they put up 33 on a team that was 11th in the country in defense.
Correct. Yeah.
That's all you can expect, right? Yeah. I mean, what are they supposed to put up 50? They have to do it different ways. You know, it's odd to me that Trayshawn Ward got 2 carries. It's weird. His last time he touched the ball was a 65-yard run, and they're like, all right, we've seen enough.
Shut him down.
Rest it up, get ready for the heels. It's odd, some of the things they do with the personnel or that thing. But, look, they have a reason for it. And at the end of the day, as maddening as it can be to watch, they put up 33 points on a team that, you know, their only loss, they gave up 17 to Rutgers. They gave up 21 to Liberty. And Liberty is
really good head coach, really good offensive mind.
It has won
really
more
good
lately than Florida State.
Yeah.
So the offense was what it was. It is what it is. We can wring our hands about it and everything and worry about it, but they put up 33 points. Which, if we're all upset about the offense after a 33-point performance, well, that means the bar has been raised a little bit. The other side of the ball. So I know we won't talk about that much. Oh, I did want to say though, when you talked about Babers, that's what I'm talking about with. That's what was so frustrating about some of the decisions earlier in the season, is that when you're not a good football team, and Syracuse is not a good football team, you're going to be in a lot of close games with other not good football teams. You have to maximize your chances to win. What they did with the timeouts in the first half is abysmal.
Malpractice.
It really is. And you have a chance. Maybe they win that game if they don't screw up the last minute of that first half. I mean, it's crazy they were out of timeouts. It was crazy they completed a screen pass and wasted 20 seconds without calling a timeout. Like, all the things they did on that last drive are the things that I would be killing Norvell for if he had done it.
Yes.
And that's what, when you're a bad football team and you're in a close game, you can't have coaches just giving away points. And that's what was very, very frustrating about the Jacksonville State game and maybe even the Louisville game to an extent, where there were things that were done from a coaching strategic standpoint, which you can't do if you're trying to maximize your team's chances of winning. This isn't the 90s, man. Bobby Bowden wasn't a great, what would you call that?
Game manager?
Well, what would you call, what's the noun for being good at strategy? A strategian? Strategic?
Tactician?
Master.
I mean,
tactician, yeah. I guess strategy. You can't be good like strateger.
Strategist. You can be a good strategist.
Strategist. That was the word I was looking for. Thanks, Aslan. You did it, man. We're doing
finally
things.
Once.
Yeah,
it came through.
So Bowden, there were times, if you go back and look in the 90s and in certain games against Miami, not the best strategist in the world late in games, or even other games. But his talent was so overwhelming. He was so good at all the other stuff that it didn't matter more often than not, 99% of the time. Well, when you're in a lot of coin tosses, strategy and game management and coaching decisions like that matter. And that's why it's so baffling, all these guys in the NFL. Every NFL game comes down to the final 4 minutes of a game. It's crazy some of the things they do to not maximize their chances of winning. And Babers, in that instance, hurt his team, hurt his chances of winning. That said, the defense for Florida State, and again, we won't harp on it too long, that to me was the only real disappointment from Saturday was that, giving up 30 points. It's not like I was expecting them to get a shutout. I didn't expect the Louisville second half to show up for the whole game. But it was when that kid ripped off the big run, it was like they shut it down for a while. They gave up. Of course, they gave up. Like I said, the kid ripped off the 60-yard run, and then they gave up first down, touchdown on the next drive. After being overwhelming the first 4 drives. Like just completely dominating the game all of a sudden that kid rips off one big run, and it's like they go back into a shell. And that was discouraging to see, was that they kind of found their 2020 midseason form as soon as something bad happened to them. But on the flip side, the fact that they did play well those final 2 drives, or well enough, I should say, and got stops and forced kicks, was encouraging, because I thought they were going to give up game-winning touchdowns to that kid. And that kid is not a good quarterback. He is an impressive athlete when he gets moving, but he is not a good quarterback. And you still gave up 30 points to him. And Quayshawn Fuller, man, like, I just don't. And I don't know. Which Fuller do you blame? Like, the guy that's getting paid the money to teach them, or the defensive end that's in there for a play? And like, have you been watching the game, bud? Like, the only plays they made all day, the only plays that quarterback made all day were on bootlegs. It was either he had 3 or 4 big runs on his bootlegs, and every big pass he completed was on a bootleg, where he'd get outside containment because the defensive end would go crashing or not be there. And it's like, how do you, in that moment when you're playing defensive end, do you let him get outside you again, and you're surprised that he has the ball? Like, I just, it's bad coaching, bad player awareness, both. But that was very discouraging that there were plays like that. The middle of the field on those crossing routes are just wide open. And I was hoping we wouldn't see that kind of miscommunication stuff. And again, I watch Florida State. I watch every play of every season. You don't see them ever hit crossing passes in the middle of the field, 25 yards downfield, where there's nobody in the middle of the field with them. Ever. So why does it always happen to their defense? Like, can you remember, legitimately, since Norvell's been here, a huge crossing pass in the middle of the field where there's nobody there, where the defense was completely confused?
No, I mean, the Preston Daniel catch against North Carolina, but he just ran up the seam. There wasn't.
Yeah, that was just but I'm talking about a wide receiver just basically running a drag around the middle, down the middle of the field, and everything's being cleared out, and there's nobody in the picture with him. It just does not happen for Florida State's offense, but it happens to the Florida State defense quite frequently. Look, Keir Thomas yelling at Brendan Gant they caught that on the sidelines, right? On the TV broadcast?
No, the sideline reporter mentioned it, but they didn't show it actually happening.
Oh, I thought they'd shown it on the TV, because Stephanie was actually at the game with her daughter Eva, and she's like, "Did they talk about that on TV?" And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "One of the Florida State guys was really screaming at one of his teammates." And I'm like, "Oh, was it who?" I was like, "Was it Thomas?" She's like, "Oh yeah, that's right." And it was after the touchdown run. The first one, the 55-yarder. And I don't know if it was Brendan Gant wasn't where he was supposed to be, or he wasn't maybe giving the effort that Keir Thomas wanted him to give. But by God, I'm all about that. I'm all about holding your teammates accountable. Not to the point where, like, the kid wants to quit the team or you get into a fight. But, man, you've got to have more guys on this team that care, like really care. And Keir Thomas has only been here a year. The kid he was yelling at has been here much longer than that. So why is Keir Thomas the one that really looks like he cares? That's the stuff that, it's still troubling, very troubling. But it's cool that you have Keir Thomas on your team. You only got him for a year. You got him for 8 more games, maybe. But that, to me, I think that's where programs can find some footing, is where there's that accountability from the players, not just from Adam Fuller or Woodson or Odell, but from the actual players getting on each other. So that I was going to say that was good to see, but they still gave up 30 points. So, and I think that's why Keir Thomas and Jermaine Johnson weren't like doing cartwheels, man.
Right.
It's like, we still kind of sucked as a defense. We didn't really build on that Louisville game like we wanted to, and that's what I was hoping to see, and we didn't.
Shout out to my boy Robert Cooper, though. I think this is 2 weeks in a row maybe he's graded out over 80. He was the top-graded guy on PFF for Florida State's defense. Jarquez McClellion was second. Not to pile on our guy, but Brendan Gant came in 21st out of 21st. 12 snaps, and he graded out at 48.2. 60 is your baseline.
I don't know how much he played after that play.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, Cooper's been good, man. And I thought Jarrett Jackson, I don't know what he graded out as, but he was a serviceable backup.
He graded out
made
higher
some
than
plays.
Kier. He graded out higher than Kier.
And look, I didn't think, I know that kid hit some runs, the running back, but I thought the run defense was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
You can look at the numbers and say, oh, God, they gave up 230 yards. Well, yeah, they gave up 140 to a quarterback. I'm not saying you take those away. That's still on the coaching and that's still on the defense, but the traditional running game that Syracuse wanted to use, that other teams will want to use, that don't have that dude at quarterback, Florida State still did a really good job there, I thought, for the most part. Really good. That's probably too strong. They did a pretty good job for the most part. Running backs filled gaps. That kid had a couple big runs, but nothing more than 15 or 16 yards. I thought it was, and he didn't really start doing anything at all until the quarterback proved he was a threat running the ball. Right. But I thought overall the running defense, was pretty good, all things considered. Again, it's just the middle of the field in passing and against the pass is just always awful, always awful.
Yeah, and these receivers really aren't all that elite either, so that makes it that much more
Yeah, they didn't even have their best receiver. Syracuse didn't even have their best receiver there.
They didn't have their punter either. I mean, the confluence of things that had to happen for Florida, and I guess, again, credit Florida State for taking advantage of all those miscues and turning it into a victory, but it just there's a lot of things had to go right for Florida State. A lot of things had to go wrong for Syracuse to eke out that 3-point win, but nonetheless, it was a win.
Still true, but also – those two turnovers are just that's Florida State stuff. The NC State stuff that I was talking about last week, that Pokey Wilson dropping that punt there. I mean, that's just what Florida State does. That's what bad teams do. They were up 23-13, had just gotten a 3 and out, were getting the ball back in decent field position, around the 30, I would think, 35, something like that. He just drops it. If he catches that ball, I think they might go and kind of take control of the game. That's wishful thinking, probably. I mean, it's Florida State. They might have thrown an interception on the first play. But I think they're going to about ready to take control of that game. And it's like Florida State always just wants to be the EMT that just gives life to a team. Just breathes life back into them. Man, I should have kept that for my column. That was a pretty good line that I just came up with on the spot. But that's what they do. They're just like they're the heart compression, the EKGs or whatever.
Defibrillator.
The defibrillator, yeah. They're like, oh, you feel like this is about to be over? Okay, well, here's a fumble. Here's a drop punt. Here's a crazy interception for you. Welcome back, man. You made it. Don't go to the white light. Come on back. And that's what they do all the time. And that Pokey Wilson play, man, I just think they're about to take control of the game. Because then you're up 30. If you get up 30-13 on Syracuse, again, a big if. It's not like they were the 2. They're the 2 going in. That kid feels like he has to throw more, and I think maybe that's when he's going to make some mistakes, and maybe you can actually win a game comfortably. But no, Florida State's not going to do that. They're not going to make it easy on themselves. They made that's a losing play. They didn't lose, and they made the goal line stand right after, which was good to see. But it flipped field position enough that the next drive they went and scored. It was nice that they got the goal line stand
but I thought he kind of got in.
Yes.
Camera kind of showed that he got in too.
Yeah.
The fact they said he didn't get in is what kind of saved them. But that's what the ref said.
Yeah,
the ref said it.
But DeLoach didn't get run over.
Right.
He stood him up. Like the kid just I thought he kind of fell on some bodies that got him in the end zone. But I just thought they were going to go score in 4 plays. And they didn't. Florida State bowed up and made some plays, bowed up enough. They couldn't get the first down. They came up a yard short on a scramble, and then, of course, Syracuse went down and scored. But if you don't fumble that right there, that punt, I think you're in control of the game. You have a 10-point lead and the ball. You have a double-digit lead and the ball for the first time in a good while. And then the Cam McDonald missed block. It's like, man, that just can't happen. I know they showed Jordan.
Dude, that kid made a hell of a play, and I'm not a Cam McDonald apologist, but that kid, he would have broke ankles in the NBA the way he got to the ball. That was impressive. I don't really know. I don't know. Like, was Cam supposed to jump at his leg? That kid made a hell of a play.
You've got to get some sort. You've got to get a body part on him. Yeah. Literally, what's so deflating about a play like that is that if he does make that block or just gets in a way, sets a screen, moves his feet. Like the problem was, he did make a play like an Allen Iverson crossover, but McDonald's feet were pretty kind of stuck on the field. He didn't look like a shortstop getting ready to go field a grounder. He was kind of, he didn't look all, he is athletic. He didn't look all that athletic on that play. If you get in that kid's way, if he dives left like he did and you just cut him off a little bit, I genuinely think that's going to be a touchdown. It's Trayshawn. It was schemed up to where it would have been Trayshawn Ward against a safety with 10 yards apart. Yeah. That's all. The way that kid went inside, if that ball gets to Trayshawn Ward, there is only one dude on that side of the field. It's a safety 10 yards away from Trayshawn Ward, and Trayshawn Ward's got a running start. I think that's a touchdown. There aren't many people in the country that can tackle Trayshawn Ward one-on-one with 10 yards of head start. And instead of being a touchdown, to go back up by 10 with, 7 minutes left, they got the ball at your 40 because the kid made a great play. It is a great play.
Absolutely.
But he was allowed to make a great play because the tight end didn't get even a finger on him. And it's things like that keep happening to Florida State in big moments. Pokey and Cam McDonald have been here for a long time. At some point, and Cam McDonald made a couple of really great catches. Like, they were not easy catches to make. A couple third down catches, the touchdown catch. He had a nice game receiving. But you got to figure out a way. You can't let that happen. Your only job is to not let that kid get in the backfield. And you did. And then the defense rose up enough to hold him to a field goal. But I think that's a touchdown. It's a 10-point swing right there. And you just, how do you coach that out of people? Like, at that moment, Norvell always talks about, and it's true, man. You never the paying attention to detail in every play is important, and getting 1% better and all that stuff. But every play, you never know when it's going to be the biggest play of the game. And that seems like that was a play they ran 30 times. It seems like a normal play. Just, okay, this is a ho-hum. We've run this 20 times today already. It's going to be a screen. Let me try to get in front of this guy a little bit, and we're going to get 4 yards. Well, it turned out no, Cam. Y'all would have gotten 70 yards if the pass was completed. Instead, that true freshman for Syracuse went and made a play for his team. And that was it was discouraging to the point where I was like, man, this is just Florida State stuff. They're going to lose this game because of that play.
But they didn't. They didn't,
did they? They didn't. Sorry, Syracuse. Sorry, how was that flight back home, big guys?
The clutch shot, the biggest hit. It's time for the Zaxby's Indescribably Good
Player of the Week.
It is the Indescribably Good Player of the Week, but, it's really just one singular play. My Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week, Andrew Parchment. Might have to ask Mike Norvell at Monday's press conference, why were you yelling at my guy after he picked up the fumble and ran in for a touchdown? The cameras, Corey, showed him like being lectured to after. It's like, hey, man, your quarterback and receiver just totally botched that entire play, and this kid had the wherewithal, like the quick thought, the quick wits to pick the ball up and go upfield and get a touchdown that you say he saved the game. So that one singular play, man, you talked about the winning plays and how things can pivot. That play right there, Syracuse recovers that. Who knows what happens in that game, but Andrew Parchment, my Zaxby's Indescribably Good Player of the Week. Sometimes it's in the mental, Corey.
I was wondering, I saw that too. I was wondering if maybe he celebrated that I didn't see, and Norvell thought maybe he could have, it warranted a flag that didn't come. I don't know, because I don't know how you, what are you, mad that he picked up the ball and saved your offense from looking at Pokey too? Like, that's a fumble, man. You can't just drop the ball and then just like, oh man, all right, incomplete pass. No, it was behind the line of scrimmage. Anyway, it was a crazy play. It looked like it was going to be a double pass. That's how crazy a play it looked like. My indescribably good player of the week, I'm going to go with my man Jordan Travis. He's not going to remind people of just pick any great thrower of the football. He's not going to be that guy, but his team needed him desperately. He had not probably felt the love from the Florida State fan base that he maybe deserved, considering what he did for the team last year when he was healthy. And then he's not healthy now. He didn't even practice the whole week. But when it mattered and they needed him in a big game, they're all big when you got a chance to win them. He came through, put up 33 points, and put up those two big runs that got them in field goal position to win the game. That's my guy. He came through. It's a big time win for old J Trav.
I think he broke Chuck Ward's record for all-time rushing yards by quarterback too. So, got that.
Oh, sorry, Charlie. You've been kicked out of the record books. How's that feel?
Jordan Travis for Corey Clark, Andrew Parchman for me. Those are our Zaxby's indescribably good players of the week. Corey, I don't know if you have any other final thoughts on the game. I think we just spent like 5 minutes talking about one play, so I mean I'm tapped out, but feel free to explore. But what a bit of a bittersweet season this is. Obviously, Florida State being 1-4. The bitter part of it, I guess, the sweet is just seeing all the chaos that. Yeah. You know, man, like if this was a 4-1 team right now, or even 3-2, you're like, man, maybe if this, because that was the beauty of the BCS was, I guess even the playoff is maybe made a little bit better, but like you could always just scoreboard watch, and if this happens, and if this can happen, and all these crazy permeations are coming up within your head. But these things happen in college football. You could sneak your way into like a conference championship game or a playoff or the BCS title game. What just a bizarre season. Oklahoma still looks shaky. Ohio State still whatever. I mean, Alabama's and Georgia are just on a collision course, obviously. But everybody else is just tripping over themselves. Oregon lost to Stanford. We see what Clemson is. You saw what Clemson is. I didn't get to see the game because it was on ACC Network. But golly, man, just would have been nice to I don't know, maybe been like year 3 or 4 of this guy if he is a good coach after all to see if they could have snuck around and done some stuff. But any big picture takeaways from the national scene, or do you want to dip back into the Syracuse game? No,
I'm good. I'm done talking about Syracuse, the big win. Plus, it's going to be the first of many. It's just started the streak, that's all.
And Jimbo lost to A&M. A&M back to earth, being a 9-win team doing A&M things.
Yeah, and then I didn't realize they got Alabama this week.
That's right.
They've lost 2 in a row, and they got Bama. Yikes, man. Hey, Jimbo. It's relentless
that
over there, isn't it?
Is so bad. How did he I don't know. He wasn't even here in 2017. Like physically, mentally, he was not here. He didn't take any lessons from whatever went wrong at Florida State and apply them to Texas A&M. And I know you can't recruit 2 5-star quarterbacks in the same class but you have to, because then you end up with this Jeremy Calzada guy as your quarterback when you were a preseason top 5 team and feel good. And then you're one play away from your quarterback being out for eight weeks, and then now here you are again being paid $9 million a year, and your team is just middling.
It's odd, right? Like you think about, and maybe it's just that look at who Georgia's backup quarterback is. Like I think Stetson Bennett's got a little bit to him. Maybe he's like a poor man's Mackenzie Milton back when Milton was the 18 Milton, like similar stature, kind of a gunslinger, can run around a little bit. But, that's why I'm not getting too fired up. Georgia has a better defense than the Falcons. Like, I can promise you,
scary, man.
The Washington football team would not have scored 33 points on the Georgia. They just would not. Tyler Heineke would be running for his life. But against the Falcons, hey, this is fun, isn't it? Anyway, their defense is incredible. But is Stetson Bennett their quarterback? You going to win a national championship with Stetson Bennett? Because who knows when JT Daniels is coming back?
Do you think
they got to play Auburn?
Do you think Kirby's like that kind of guy that'll be like, F him, like I can't play with you, like you're too soft? And I don't know what JT Daniels is going through, but like Kirby strikes me as that kind of guy where he's like, I'll just
lat issue.
Is it? I know. He strikes me as the kind of guy. I don't know. He wants to win. He'll play whoever gives him the best shot of winning. But I don't know. Part of me thinks like the movie of just like, all right, man, I'm going to go with this scrappy kid that's just going to figure out a way to be available for his team every week. I can't count on you.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I wouldn't put it past him. I still think, he knows JT gives him the best chance to win. But the point being, that's their backup quarterback. This kid's a senior that was a walk-on that left to go to a JUCO that came back. And Georgia's the number 2 team in the country. Like I guess it's just almost impossible to have really good backups anymore. The problem with Jimbo is like this has kind of been his ever since Ponder and EJ. He hasn't really been loaded with backups, has he? Like, it's like he recruits the big guy, the guy that he sells, like, you're my next first-round pick.
Yes.
You're the guy that's going to be the star. You're my dude. And then he has to go recruit a guy that's being recruited by, like, Troy or Central Michigan or something.
Yeah.
Like, again, Malik Henry, I think it was Malik Henry. You're my guy. But I tell you what, J.J. Cosentino's got some things, too, now. Jameis, you're my dog. You're number 1. You don't need you can play baseball here, too. You're going to be our starter. You're probably going to win a Heisman. Sean McGuire, I like what I see out of you, buddy. I think you can play here. Like, it's like he recruits the 5-star and then goes for the 2.5-star. And that kid at A&M, come on, man, you're in Texas. how is that kid your second-string quarterback? But, and I was telling, Stephanie went to grad school at A&M, so I don't think she's really a fan of the team much, but we were watching that game, and she was asking me about it, and I'm like, look, the thing with Jimbo is, this is true, I truly believe this, he will put a team full of NFL guys that's he will find a solid nucleus. He will build a program up and have a solid nucleus, like almost great nucleus, very talented nucleus. He's not going to win anything unless he has a great quarterback, which goes for a lot of coaches. Right. But he can build the nucleus up to the point where if you give him a great quarterback, everything else will be in shape where they can go win some things, championships. Florida State was pretty good from 10 to 12. They won an Orange Bowl. It wasn't a great schedule, but still, they won their games. Yeah. And then he got a transcendent quarterback and had one of the best teams of all time. So I'm not completely willing to write him off at A&M because I think he really likes the guy they have. But he got hurt, and he's left with his own version of Clint Trickett. No offense, Clint. I love you. But you can't go from Jameis Winston to Sean McGuire and think you're going to that's too huge. That's too big a disparity, but I guess that's why you want to keep your quarterbacks healthy. So it's a bummer that he's about to lose his third straight game. I think they might give Alabama a bit of problems.
No way.
It's that quarterback can't beat Alabama, can he? When was the last time Alabama lost to a quarterback like that? Xavier
Garcia.
Lee?
Oh yeah, maybe
you're right.
Xavier Lee.
That's a good one though. Steven Garcia is a good one. Garcia or Xavier Lee, right?
Garcia looks like, I don't know, man, Sam Hartman compared to Jeremy Calzada. That kid he's going to look like Justin Fields did the other week against, who was it, the Browns that absolutely neutered that poor kid? Like that Calzada kid, man. Game over, man.
No shot. But yeah, so A&M's out of they got 3 losses? Oh, they got 2, but it's about to be 3.
Correct.
Florida, that's a tough one, man. That's literally the first time they've lost at Kentucky. What, since you were in
I've been
kindergarten,
alive,
maybe?
Since I've been alive. Yeah.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah.
That's incredible. And I know Mullen's just he's so hard to love because of his personality, right? Like you saw Florida Twitter was just outraged. Okay, this is the second time in 3 years he's lost to Kentucky. When they never lost in Kentucky for 30 years, and now he's lost to them 2 out of 3 years. They're still good. I mean, they're still better than Florida State. They're the best program in the state, which isn't saying a whole lot right now. But you don't build up any goodwill among fans when you're that awkward and weird and strange, and then you lose a couple games. When you're that hard to like, and then you start losing, man, they turn on you quick, Dan. They turn on you quick, buddy. And it's not Starkville. They're not just appreciative that you won a few games. They've had some of the best coaches of all time in Gainesville. If you're going to be that weird a guy, you can't lose at Kentucky, and especially put up 13 whole points. So tough to see. It would have been a great way to end the day if Dabo would have found a way to lose too. But overall, Florida State fans, you won for the first time this year.
Yes.
And your 2 main rivals lost. Miami lost on a missed kick. You won on a missed kick. And Miami lost on a missed kick. And everybody does it. Nobody likes their coach in this state except the Buccaneer fans. Nobody else in the state likes their coach. But at least you got to win, and your two rivals can't mock you this weekend. Miami fans better not be mocking anyone.
See, I always thought Mullen was going to get in his way in a big game. Like he's going to always figure out a way to have a pretty good offensive team and have a quarterback perform well. Although that wasn't the case in Lexington the other night. But just like he's going to do really crazy things in big games that's going to shoot him in the foot. But the fact that he's losing, he's finding a way now to still lose to teams that he's more talented than, which he didn't really have that problem in Mississippi State. Like because most of the time he was the inferior team. That warms me. That helps quell and alleviate my fears.
Well, and somebody brought up on I saw it on Twitter, and again, it's an angry Gator fan, but he's like, look, he had a transcendent quarterback and the best tight end and one of the best tight ends in college football history last year, and 2 other first-round type talents, a wide receiver, and managed to go 8-4 with that. So this is who he is.
Was he really 8-4 last year?
I think so. And I don't agree with. I don't think Dan Mullen is what he is. Like what I mean by that is we all are who we are. But like everybody thought Jimbo was what he was until he won a championship.
Correct.
Like it can change. You can change narratives. But right now, Florida fans feel like, much like Florida State fans aren't sold on their coach at all. Florida fans are like, okay, Dan Mullen's always going to be an eight win guy. Never more than that. It's just in his blood, which people thought that about Jimbo until it wasn't. So we'll see. But that was quite a weekend. Oregon losing the way they lost, that was incredible.
That wasn't pass interference.
That was nuts.
That was terrible. Terrible.
I didn't see Cristobal after the game, but I mean, he better have gotten fined $100,000. I mean, that's just crazy to make that call. But yeah, hey, nobody's feeling bad for them, right? Nobody feels bad for Oregon. And it looks like Alabama and Georgia are the two best teams, but then Georgia and Auburn beat LSU, which means that the Jimbo watch continues, but Jimbo better win some games to make that happen for LSU. And then, I think Alabama and Georgia are the two best teams. I don't know who's third. Do you? Is it flipping Iowa?
Right.
I don't know. Is it Penn State?
I mean, Oklahoma hasn't lost yet. I mean, if they lose
but
to
they keep
Texas,
almost losing to everyone.
Well, hey, we didn't hold that against our boys in 14, but they're coming off a championship. This team's not coming off a championship. Shout out to freaking Andy Reid though, copying Lincoln Riley. I mean, that Spencer Rattler kid threw an underhand touchdown pass on Saturday, and then Pat Mahomes comes out Sunday. Patrick Mahomes, I apologize, and does the same thing. Like, did you see that? It was like he was throwing skee ball, and he just throws a touchdown pass. Jerk. What a show-off.
Why not? Yeah, he should, headbutt one. It's just not fair. That offense isn't fair.
I don't wonder how many good quarterbacks there are in college right now, though. I was trying to think about that with, Jordan Travis and McKenzie. And
Buddy, trust me, as a Falcons fan, I'm definitely trying to think of that. And Matt Ryan wasn't the reason they lost on Sunday necessarily, but he's old. And he had a play. You might see it. You might have already seen it on Twitter. Not Clowney. Whoever the Chase Young. They ended up calling a personal foul on Chase Young for hitting him on the helmet, which he did not do. He was actually literally trying to knock the ball out of Ryan's hand, but he missed and went right by and barely nudged Ryan. And then Ryan collapses to the ground as if he's been shot in the lower spine. And he's like, oh. And then he hits it. He tries to throw it as his knee's going down because it's fourth down. He pops up a 25-yard pass that's intercepted. And it's the most unathletic play a good football player has ever made on a football field. It's incredible. And I'm like, what? How long? This ain't the Tom Brady story.
Right.
He looks his age. This is crazy. And then as a Falcons fan, I'm like, okay, well, they're going to go 2-14 this year, 3-13. Can they draft a quarterback? And who's even out there to be drafted? Who's the guy?
I don't know.
That kid from Syracuse, that big bearded son of a gun?
Garrett Schrader, baby.
Yeah, old Schrade dog. Just ride him? I don't know, man. I'm looking around. I don't know who's even is there anybody that's supposed to be a first-round pick?
That Malik Willis kid from Liberty, I think, was. I don't know if Rattler is draft eligible.
Screw it. No way. And I would. Yes, he is because it's his third year in college, but I wouldn't touch that kid.
Yeah. It's bizarre, but
yeah,
I think maybe the kid from Ole Miss, even though my boy Lane, come on, Lane, I'm trying to bring you back home. You can't be doing that kind of nonsense. Going for a fourth down 3 times on the first drive. Come on.
Hey, by the way, so did Norvell do it once or twice on Saturday?
Going for it on fourth?
Yeah, because he made it one time.
They were 2 for 2, it says.
Yeah. Look, I get why you don't want to do it all the time, and he's been a little too willy-nilly with it. But there are the right times to do it. There are good times to do it, and you really should do it more than you shouldn't. As long as it's all about personnel and situation and all that. But they don't win that game, I don't think, because I think they scored on one of those drives. They don't win that game if they don't go for it on fourth down. So it can't be. We can't just, when they do make it, just completely forget to even talk about it. And I'm not talking about you and I'm just talking about in general as a fan base or a media base. And then when they don't do it, it's all we want to talk about. When they don't get it. But when they do get it, it's like, oh yeah, it was a 9-play drive one of those plays was a fourth down play that they converted. That's pretty important. I think he's not really, doesn't seem to be changing much other than completely getting rid of the Wildcat. Literally, where's it been, man? Completely getting rid of the Wildcat. He doesn't look like he's going to change the way he coaches for anyone.
That's his prerogative. Yeah. But at the same time, we'll further scrutinize what that means for this team moving forward. But in any event, we'll be back out there. Well, we won't be out there. We'll be inside the Moore Athletic Center Monday. Press conference with Mike Norvell. Starts at 11:30 in the morning. We'll have updates on warchant.com.
I'll be sure to ask him what he tells recruits now that they're 1-4.
Travis Hunter wasn't Travis Hunter in Athens, I heard.
Hey, don't worry about that. Don't worry. It's nothing to see, man. It's just 30 minutes down the road. It's a big game. He's a football fan.
Right, you're right.
He wanted to see that Bryles offense up close.
Right, you're right.
So that's all. Don't worry. Don't look too much into that.
Live updates from the press conference starting around 11:30 in the morning. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock, Warchant TV and 93.3 FM in Tallahassee Radio. And then Trench Talk, 6 p.m. with Devontae Love Taylor. Post your questions on social media or over on the warchant.com Tribal Council. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thanks so much for listening to Wake Up Warchant, fueled by DeLuna Coffee. Come explore our world of coffee. DeLuna Coffee features over 24 different blends. DeLuna's unique roasts can be delivered ground finely for drip coffee makers, coarse for the craft crowd, untouched as a whole bean, or even in convenient K-Cups. Founded in 2014 by the Lemmix family, Ed and Brett are FSU alums and boosters who are extending a special offer to all listeners. Use the promo code WARCHANT15 for a 15% discount. Visit DeLunaCoffee.com and check out their Facebook and Instagram.